It's a beautiful week. Good afternoon. You're with Midday Live. As usual, my name is Wendy Laya. Top stories for this afternoon. President Mahama makes more ministerial appointments. And on the firing front, the French Defense Minister says France's military aim in Mali is total reconquest. And we have more regards to AFCON 2013 with Joel Champon this afternoon. But we've got details of these stories and many others to move with. Thanks for staying. I start with the stories now. And President John Dramani Mahama, in accordance with Article 78 of the 1992 Constitution, has nominated the following as Ministers of State designate: Dr. Henry Seydou Dana, Ministry of Chieftaincy and Traditional Affairs; Kwesi Ahoy, Ministry of the Interior; Makwayongo, Ministry of Defense; Honorable Haruna Idrisu, Ministry of Trade and Industry; Honorable Abdul Rashid Hassan Pelpo, Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts; Nayong Blijo, Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development; Alhassan Azong, Minister of State at the Presidency; Alhaji Mustafa Ahmed, Minister of State at the Presidency; Elizabeth Ofosu Ajari, Minister of State at the Presidency; Fifi Kwete, Minister of State at the Presidency; Alhaji Limuna Mohammed Muniru, Minister of State at the Presidency; Comfort Doyo Kujo Ganza as Minister of State at the Presidency. Well, meanwhile, the President has also appointed P.V. Oving as the Senior Presidential Advisor at the Presidency. Three former ministers, E.T. Mensah, Alban Badling and Cletus Avoga, have also been designated by the President to coordinate the implementation of presidential priority projects relating to the construction of 200 senior high schools, 10 teacher training colleges and 1 public university in the Eastern region, the development of ultra-modern regional and specialist hospitals, and the development of new international and regional airports. Finally, the President has appointed Mawina Dumotreba as Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investments Promotion Center. And that's what we have for now, but we'll keep you updated as and when more do get in. But remember, you're still watching Midday Live. You can always get interactive with me on Facebook and Twitter as News on TV3 or short code 1734. We move straight to the northern region, where some sad news hit there this morning. 24 people are reported that following the fatal car accident at Bupe in the northern region. Like I just said, vehicles involved in the accident a Kia truck from Taman loaded with cow to the Bupe markets, and a Sprinter bus with registration number AS893112 from Kumasi. And I have on the phone line Zach Kadi, our reporter who is up north. Zach, can you hear me, Zach? Well, when we spoke to you off camera earlier on, you did tell me that the accident occurred about 2:30 a.m. Did the climate have anything to do with the accident?
Not necessarily, Wendy. I think the road is very well asphalted as of now, very clear and very clean. I think, according to the police, it's DSP Owusu and the Bupe Central Gonja Police Commander. He blamed the issue on overspeeding and overtaking on the part of their Kia driver who tried to overtake the Mercedes-Benz, and that led to the collision. And as of now, 24 people are confirmed dead, including the drivers of both the Benz bus and the Kia truck. The Kia truck had some cattle to send to Bupe market, Bupe market day, and the bus was coming from Kumasi. They also survived to tell where the bus was coming from, but it was coming from Kumasi. So the collision led to a death of 24 people. And when I got to the scene, it was not easy for fire service personnel to cut the pieces of the Kia truck to bring out the driver, who was identified only as Ibrahim. It was very, very terrible, very, very terrible. About adult children, about 2.5-year-old child, and possibly 4-year-old child also passed on. And they were going to the castle. So they scattered around. People were there to see if they could identify. After the time I left the scene at 11:20, not even a single person was identified apart from the driver who was of the Kia bus known as Ibrahim.
And Zach, apart from the 24 that you're telling me, or you have reconfirmed are dead, are there any other injuries sustained during the accident?
Well, 2 people were said to have been rushed to Tamale Hospital for treatment. But like they say, there's a story here in the north that where the head is there, where they discuss about the issue of the head, the heart is not discussed too much. So everybody is moved by the corpses lying down scattered until people came around to cast and leave to cover them. Otherwise, they're wailing and crying. Even though the people could not identify who is who, but there was sort of wailing and crying there, and it was really terrible.
Now, you have said that it was due to overtaking, and the MTTU is also working at helping curb road accidents. What is the MTTU in the Northern region saying about these particular accidents, and what are they also doing to help curb road accidents in the north?
Well, DSP also and you put the same question to you. Said they've been working on advancing drivers, and that's why in Northern region they don't record so many accidents. But this one was rather unfortunate. The Bupa road is a special route that is paying more attention to, because the area is seen to be like the Tema of Northern region. They have the oil refinery at Tema, they have the shea butter processing factory in Tema, and Bupa. So many activities going on in Bupa because of the they have the firing stamp there. So that's the easiest way to come to North Region through the Volta region and through Akotumbu. So the road is very nice, very, very nice. It's now asphalted there, and the challenge has been working on the road. So it makes drivers to feel comfortable to speed. So we're not taking the speedometers and trying to overtake, not looking ahead. Otherwise, the place is very nice, and the Legislative Committee was with the advantages on the issue, Wendy. Okay,
well, thank you very much, Zakadi, for that update. And according to our reporter, 24 people have been reported dead following a fatal accident at Bupe in the Northern region. We're talking to him about that very accident that happened this dawn at about 2:30. We continue with our stories, and participants at this year's New Year's School have advocated for improved water, sanitation and hygiene throughout the country. In a communique after the 64th edition, the school believes the move would promote the well-being of the entire Ghanaian citizenry.
After 4 days of deliberations, participants at this year's New Year's School recommended the coordination of a national policy directive, adequate financial, logistical support from central government to all metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to facilitate the provision of boreholes and water storage in communities that lack reliable, good drinking water in the country. The firm suggested traditional authorities must beef up commitment towards the enforcement of laws and customary practices against deforestation along riverbanks. Metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies were tasked to prioritize the need to desilt all water bodies in their areas of administration to prevent them from drying up. Professor John Japong, Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, advised participants to remain ambassadors and advocates of change and take bold initiatives in protecting water bodies.
This New Year School should be the platform of making you ambassadors and advocates for change. We need to move from the rhetoric and begin to act on what we know works. We don't need new studies to show how to prevent diarrhea. We don't need new studies to show how to prevent blindness due to trachoma. What we need to do now is to act.
Professor Yao Hinibasechi, director of the institute, called for institutional collaboration between stakeholders and the citizenry to ensure a proper waste management system.
How to create strong institutional collaborations to improve access to safe drinking water, sanitation and hygiene. And I believe we've been able to do that.
Now we move straight to international news, and the French Prime Minister or Defense Minister has said France's military aim in Mali is total reconquest. France has sent in 2,000 troops to help Malian forces fight Islamist militants who now are in control of the northern half of the country. And I do have on the phone line this afternoon Dr. Vladimir Nchedanso, and he's a senior research fellow at the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy. Good afternoon, Doc, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon. You're welcome.
Now, the troops in Mali are having some sort of difficulty with regards to information because some of the residents there are pro with the Islamist militants there, and a town like Diabali is one of the factors I'm just mentioning. Now, has intelligence got anything to do with the success of the troops in Mali?
Come again with the question. Has what? Intelligence
or information from the public in Mali has anything to do with the success of the operation in Mali?
Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes, because in such combats, you've got to gather your intelligence properly. And again, knowing very well that the French troops have landed, African troops, ECOWAS troops are landing, the insurgents will try to use some kind of subterfuge. I mean, they will mix up with the local population, poison their minds, use all kinds of whatever they can get to use the population against the liberators, if you like it that way. So I think intelligence gathering has not been proper. And again, they want to hold on to Diabali because it's a garrison town. There are several other few garrison towns they are targeting, and this is where the ECOWAS troops and the French troops will have to be smarter, gather better intelligence, and be able to outwit them.
Doc, looking at the Diabali situation, how murky can the situation get there if residents there are still not willing to give out information?
Well, information gathering is not a thing. You keep on doing it and keep on doing it and gear yourself to part of the population. Part of the NMLA is willing to come to terms with the French troops because they have openly said that they want to deal with the jihadists. So once they are not united now, I think we need to exploit that. They have broken into about 3 groups now, and I think we need to exploit the group that will be loyal to us, ECOWAS and all the French troops. The NMLA portion says that they want to deal with the jihadists. These are the people we need to work with.
And also, if religion is a factor and pushed to the forefront of the Mali crisis, are we going to have a situation where troops can only be moved from Islamist countries?
No, I don't think so. Even though religion is one of the immutable dynamics in this contest, it's clear that, I mean, the religion is not monolithic. Straight away, you could see that NMLA, who wanted even to create a country of their own, believe that some of the jihadists are not doing the correct thing. And so it may be their religion, but then at the same time, we can exploit the religion against those who are extremists in their religious quest.
And how can the world move away from such a situation where religion comes to the forefront?
There is no way that the world can move away from religion. And you know, in war, you exploit whatever situation. In Canada, if there is anything like that, people will rely on religion, rely on the tribe, rely on anything. Today, it is religion which is playing at the forefront and I tell you, all the way from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and others who support the jihadist movement are bringing in even mercenaries and are bringing in logistics. So when you push the religion to the forefront that way, you have pros and cons to that.
And looking at the nature and the terrain where they're located in the desert area, how can the deployment of quick equipment help them? Can that terrain really affect the deployment of equipment?
Friendly to the desert. There are airstrikes, and ground movement will be a little difficult. But when you use airstrikes the most, and then you use those tanks that are friendly to the desert and the sands, it's going to be very difficult because it is their terrain for thousands of years. They have occupied the terrain, they know how to move, they know how to hide in the mountains and the caves, and they know how to deal with the harsh weather conditions. And this is what will be the biggest problem against the troops who are coming in from ECOWAS and from France. And it is to be expected. And they may also have studied the situation and know the conditions there. In Tamarasset and other places, it's up to more than 42 degrees Celsius, and this is a baking kind of sun. And you can imagine troops moving there. So it's one of the enemies you have to combat before you reach the real troops.
And before I let you go, Doc, should looking at what is happening now, should the troops stay the course and finish what is happening there? Because initially the French did say that it was going to take a matter of weeks, but is that what we're seeing now? Are they going to really stay the course and finish what they have to do there in Mali?
I think they have changed their notes. They have rewritten their notes. They are going to stay. They have said they are going to stay. And luckily, the European Union has also asked that troops be sent, thousands of troops be sent to train the Malian army, which presupposes or which is a fact that it means Europe also knows that it's a very bad thing. And so they must contribute some troops, which will not be combating troops, but troops that are kind of buffer zone and helping in logistics and advice and intelligence. And
are we likely to see another Somalia in the making?
Not necessarily. I think Somalia is a lesson, and therefore what we can do right now is to use both the carrot and the cane. Whilst we are pummeling the Islamists to submission, we must endear ourselves to the local population and to some of the moderate Islamists who accept the very fact of what we did in 1992 and 1996. Come to terms for oneness of Mali and reorganizing society in such a way that they are part of governance.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Vladimir. So we're looking at the Mali crisis, and he's a senior research fellow at the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy. We now move back to the local front, and the outgoing Eastern Regional Minister Victor Smith has commended the 1B and infantry of the Ghana Armed Forces for the display of professionalism during the elections and other operations in the region. Addressing a 2012 West African Security Social Activity Games at Michel Camp near Tema, he urged them to continue to work hard to nurture the country's young democracy.
The annual Wasa Games is celebrated by most security agencies to feast and reflect on activities to enable them forge ahead in the spirit of unity of purpose. The celebrations by the 1st Battalion Infantry Unit of the Ghana Armed Forces saw personnel from 5 companies of the military participating in the dressing and assembling of rifle competition. The commanding officer of the 1st Infantry Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Frederick Denchintri, assured the military shall remain focused and willing to deliver on its expected roles with the available resources to ensure the preservation of peace. He commended the military personnel and civilian staff of the Michel Camp for the achievements chalked over the years and urged them not to rest on their oars.
I will thus want to use this opportunity to recognize the efforts of all here present for the support you gave to this unit in the year 2012, which enabled us as a unit to achieve the successes that brought us so much glory.
The Eastern Regional Caretaker Minister, Victor Smith, lauded the remarkable role of the military played during the Operation Cowleg at Kwaku Abetifi to clamp down on negative activities of the Fulani herdsmen, and the Operation Halt, which sought to reduce the Galamsey and chainsaw operators.
Undeniably, one battalion has contributed and continues to contribute immensely towards the attainment of peace and security in Ghana and abroad. And this is an opportunity to extend to you the heartiest commendations from the chiefs and people of the Eastern region.
Awards were presented to personnel who excelled in different endeavors.
And one of the first 12 privileged Kenyan women to have donned the black or blue-black police uniform 61 years ago is 83-year-old Sergeant retired Rosemond Isiaman in Cancer. Peter Kwao Adato went up close with the woman considered as the very first policewoman in the following report.
Born on January 13, 1930, Rosemond Isiama trained as a teacher and was gainfully employed among 17 other teachers until the call into professional policing in the then Gold Coast. The colonial authorities responded to a public outcry over the handling of female suspects in 1952. 12 women were selected from 150 applicants to join their male counterparts. Among them was Sergeant Rosemona Siama, retired, who was persuaded by her father to give up her teaching profession. She came up tops in the final examination to be the proud owner of the very first number, PW1, in the history of women policing in Ghana. She spent 6 short but eventful years in the service, rising to the rank of a sergeant, and retired honorably when the colonial authorities refused them marriage. The rule until recently was that a policewoman either remain single or marry without having children. Sergeant Rosemona Siama, retired, saw this as an abuse of human rights and petitioned the commissioner on May 29, 1956.
I wrote and told them we would like to get married, we would like to have children. So if they want the women police service to go on and be prosperous, they should allow the girls to marry and have children. They agreed to the marriage section. But to the children, they said if you marry and you have children, you leave the force. I said no, that won't do. You can't just go and marry and not have children. Then why marry?
The response on June 1, 1956 read in part, "You can marry, but bear in mind that you will continue to stay within the municipal areas in which women policing were employed, so you can perform all duties." It further insisted she will perform all duties, including night assignments, even whilst pregnant, and will resign 5 months into pregnancy. Sergeant Rosemona Siama then decided to quit in 1958 and got married to Mr. Nkansa. They are now blessed with 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. 4 others also resigned later, with the rest attaining the statutory retirement age of 45. During her short spell with the police force, Sergeant Rosemona Siama, retired, performed several important duties, including a visit to Liberia with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. One of her memorable days in the service was the day she insisted a female suspect should not be put in the crowded male cell. The result was that the woman escaped but was rearrested about 1 kilometer away from the central police station. At age 83, Sergeant Rosemona Siama Nkansa, retired, could easily recollect the names of all her 11 colleagues and their numbers.
I would say kudos to Sergeant Rosemona Siama Nkansa for serving her cause and serving her nation, Mother Ghana. We move on to one sad story, and hundreds of irate youth of the La Paz area in Accra blocked the George Bush motorway and threatened to prevent traffic flow after an 8-year-old girl was crushed to death by a BMW saloon car Monday morning. The group, reportedly mobilized by the MP for the area, Elizabeth Saki, claimed the roadblock would remain in place until state authorities outlined a timeline for the construction of an overhead in the area for the public. The youth claim the situation must be brought under control because too many deaths had been caused by the absence of an overhead. They threw stones at the police deployed there, led by the Deputy Accra Regional Police Commander, DCOP Christian Tete Yohunu, and were held back.
When it happened, those who were around were so sympathetic that they couldn't even move. And if you had come to see the dead body, I'm sure you also would have joined us. Sensible human being cannot override this issue, this sin that happened this morning. And that is why you see the crowd here. And they think that enough is enough.
We were listening to the radio when we heard that an MP of that area was on air trying to incite people that if government doesn't do this, doesn't do that, then they will bring people to come and demonstrate. True to her words, really people came and blocked the road. And this is unfortunate. If you are a leader of people in the community, you don't force them to do the wrong thing. You, together with whoever in authority, have to find solution to this. You have to come together. That's why you are MP of the area. They blocked the street. You saw it yourself. And then when police came in to clear the street, then they started hurling stones at us. And this is unfortunate. We don't have to live in a style like this.
Away from that story, the management of Agena Senior High School is appealing for urgent assistance to construct dormitory facilities for students of the school. Currently, girls use the school's library as a dormitory, while the boys are located in an old primary school block opposite the community cemetery.
Agena Senior High Technical School was established in 1979 after the Agena community was resettled due to the construction of the Akonsombo Dam by the Volta River Authority. Not much has been done to improve on the infrastructure in the school since its establishment. The school was started as a day school, but with a computer selection placement system, several students from outside the catchment area are placed in the school, hence the need to provide accommodation for them. The school has an enrollment of over 500 with 120 boarders, but there are no dormitories to accommodate them. A 6-classroom block started as part of the emergency projects initiated by government for senior high schools is yet to be completed. Another 6-unit started by the Regional Coordinating Council is also yet to be completed. The students, with supervision from their teachers, are able to produce these executive tables and mold products from metal, but the teachers are worried lack of funds to purchase raw materials is challenging practical lessons for students. Some machines at the woodwork department were not functional, whereas the metalworks department and the building construction department leave much to be desired. The headmaster of the school, Daniel Manson, lamented on the non-availability of his staff bungalow is a challenge to ensuring discipline among students and appealed for immediate support.
There is no administration block, so we don't have a staff common room. My staff, we meet under the trees. Flats for teachers, and then we want dormitories. There is no dining hall, there is no science lab. We have some chemicals, even there is no lab to set up those chemicals.
Well, you can always get interactive with the stories you've seen. You can send your comments on Facebook and Twitter. There's News on TV3 or short code 1734. Media Live still continues. The Director General of the Reconciliation International, Archbishop Kwaku Frimpong Manson, says the time has come for leaders in the country to eschew self-centeredness in order to ensure economic growth. He was speaking on the country's current democratic state and the way forward. William Evansinkum has this report.
The Ghanaian-born London Archbishop Kwaku Frimpong Manson described the just-ended elections as peaceful and also congratulated Ghanaians for ensuring post-elections peace. He also lauded the opposition decision to contest their grievances in courts rather than resorting to violence as the case in some African countries.
What the whole world is appreciating is that some affairs, if it had been some candidate that used arms to solve the problem, but we are using law and order, and it's part of the democracy. They didn't accept it. They are going to court. They are not speaking against anybody. Nobody's pulling a gun on anybody, and we thank God that at the end of the day, the peace will prevail.
The head pastor of the Hiram Clark Missionary Baptist Church in the USA, Wyman Jackson Webster, has also stressed on the need for developing countries to have dedicated and humble leaders in order to drive their countries forward.
Continuously to stay humble is the key word in Scripture. If we humble ourselves, God will exalt us. And me being born in a country that I had to learn as well, even the people of Ghana, you will learn even as you stay humbled under God's power and under God's Holy Spirit and anointing, that He will show you everything. Everything that God has is for our learning.
And the prayer session has been held for new parliamentarians at the Christ Love International Ministry in Accra. Head Pastor Simon Kwaku charged the new parliamentarians to play significant roles in alleviating the country's poverty.
At the launch of the first anniversary, Christians were urged to put up positive behavior towards the alleviation of poverty in the country. Members of the church were also admonished to be hardworking in their fields of endeavor. The congregation prayed for unity and prosperity for the nation. Head pastor Simon Kwaku Esiedu urged the parliamentarians to work diligently for the common good of the nation.
So watching Midday Live.